Okay, let's shut this off for right now. This is the rocks I got from Yellowstone River. We're gonna wash them and put them in the tumbler. I thought that was a really interesting rock right there, and it barely fits in the tumbler. So we're gonna have to cut it in half, but I still gotta wash it off. And this one right here, this one is real interesting. Usually when they sit in a riverbed like that, the one side gets baked kind of white, and then you turn it over and that's the real colors. Well, this was sitting like this, so I took the hammer and turned it over, and not much difference on the other side. So I thought that's real interesting. That'd be an interesting thing for us to cut. That one I showed you guys. And this one, I don't know what this is, but I got another piece of this. And see, this one is black with like white stripes in it. So the layers, it should, when it formed, it would have sitting like that. Or it could have, yeah, it would have sitting like that because it's rounded on both sides. So that's real interesting. And then there's this one. This one is really interesting. See, it's solid on this side, and you can see like a layer circle around it, like that. But then on this side, it has spots instead of stripes. So what I would do when I cut this, I would want to cut across the stripe. That way you have the contrast. If you cut with the stripe, you don't get no contrast, and you risk losing the stripe because of the blade. At least that's the way I look at it. And this piece right here is interesting. Got kind of like what looks like it might be an agate window right there. But we don't know until we wash it off. It's just an interesting piece. Looks like, though, the rest of it looks like it might be granite, so you would not have an agate window on granite. At least you shouldn't have. At least I wouldn't think. And this one is real interesting. And then this was sitting like this. Remember I said just before, the sun usually bakes the side that's up a white color. And then I turned it over, and it almost looks like it's pink with white blotches in it. So that's going to be real interesting to cut. We will see what color that actually turns when we get it wet. And then this here is really interesting. That looks like an agate window right there, and you can see it's got the stripe pattern going like that, and then some up here, not much around here this side, but we're going to wash that one first. And then there was this one. So much to find over there. Watch that one for a second. this is more of that pink stuff with the white circle around the edge. Really cool stuff you find over there. And this one, you see a lot of times stuff looks pink and you get it wet and it's red. Or it looks black and you get it wet and it's a dark red. And that I just thought was an interesting piece. A couple more pieces in here. Now this is really interesting. We'll probably wash this third because it's got, I rinsed it off with the water bottle and it's still got kind of a mud type layer on it, so and this stuff is really neat. It's kind of like a reddish orange color, at least when it's dry. Now you got this stuff called lava agate, but I don't think that's it, because agate, you can hold it up to the light and see through it. This you cannot. And then I collect I get all kinds, all sizes, anything that looks neat. Anything that looks neat or interesting. Doesn't matter what size it is. If it looks cool, it's going home. See, this is what I was talking about. Okay, that was sitting like that. And you see how that's kind of a whitish color. And then you turn it over and it's gray and brown. So we will pour some water in. Get the toothbrush. Put our first one in. I think that was this one. I shouldn't have stacked stuff around it. Huh. And this is how I clean them when I get them home from the river. I use an old toothbrush. Yeah, this is the one I thought had an agate window. So this will be real interesting for us to find out very first. Was I lucky and got one with an agate window or not? And if it has an agate window, we will do a cutting video and let you guys watch. I like to put 5 stones together to do a cutting video, because cutting videos can be 30 minutes to an hour sometimes, because some of this stuff is just so flipping hard. Now see how that changed colors when you got it wet? Now that's what it will look like when it's polished, that color. Here, let me put some Dawn dish soap on here. Not very much. Just a couple of drops is good. Gets that gunk loosened up good. Water in here. That's interesting. Very interesting. So that layer goes this way. And so what we want to do, we want to cut it this way. We want to always cut across the layers. Because if you cut with the layers, like say the layers were going up and down this way, if you cut with the layers, you're going to take out one of the layers and then you're going to open it up and you're not going to see no contrast from the layers. Does that make sense, guys? Set that one there, and then we want to do this one, I think. They all got to get done. Run it back and forth in the water. Get it good and wet. See, that stuff gets caked in them grooves. If you didn't take a brush or something and scrub it, that stuff would stay in there. And then you get it in the tumbler and might come out, might not come out, you know, that kind of thing. But if you scrub it first, there's more of a chance that the grit in the tumbler will break it free. At least that's the way I look at it. Now this is a real interesting piece once we get it cleaned up here. I'll show you why I think it's interesting. Okay, so we have this stuff around here called agatized petrified wood. And that's what I think this is. If somebody knows different, they can let me know in the comments section. Because if I had a light in here, which I have in the other room right now, you could see it has almost like wood right here, and then you have rock around the wood, and then this is like, looks like it was like a hole through the wood that filled up with rock sediment. So in this case, the only way I could cut this is long ways, because you never want to cut across your window, because if you cut across your window, you take a chance of chipping out the agate, which it's not supposed to do, but I've heard people tell that happens, so I always cut it across the agate. So that's cool. Next piece. What do we want to do? We'll do this one next. This is an interesting one. Oh, wet. May have to add some more Dawn. Yeah, it's not scrubbing up very well right now. So we will take and add some more Dawn. Some people say don't use Dawn, some people say use Dawn. For this stage, I use Dawn. For in the tumbler, I don't, because Dawn suds up really bad. And so what I always end up with is a frothy slurry. And it doesn't matter if I just fill it to here. If I have Dawn in it, it froths it all the way to the top, and then it stops spinning. Well, stops tumbling, I should say. It'll spin like a runaway freight train. Just go bzzz. Different saw, but that'll come when we get money. I want to get the, I think it's called High Tech. Saw. Dry this off a bit so I can show you guys. This one very interesting because to me it's like a reddish color maybe, but then you have what looks like black, and they have this stuff here called jasper, and it's red and black, but then you see this lighter color that might be a white or a tan. So the only way to find out what it is to cut it. And so how I would cut this is across the bands like this. We can only get like 3 out of this. But that will be very interesting. And here's another one that's interesting. It was laying like this. See how this is all bleached out? And then you turn it over, and it's, totally different than the other side. This side has got like circles and stuff. I had a fun day at the river. Got some rocks to bring home. See, that's interesting. And so if we cut this, this is really thin. I don't know about cutting this. I'd have to cut it this way. But I don't like cutting them that way when it's got a layer circle. I'd rather cut it this way, but it's so doggone thin. I have to think on that. I have to think about that one. Okay, this one. Next. Okay, this is the one that was laying this way. It's all bleached out by the sun, and turn it over, and it doesn't look much different, does it? Any different when we clean it off. Well, rinse it off, rather. Well, that looks a little different, huh? Different colors, so I would cut this way. We'll make if we're doing a video on it, I'll cut it this way, right down the center. Do a reveal on it. Reveals are cool, aren't they? This is interesting, yeah. And there's stuff that you can clean this with. Home household products like CLR. I can do another video on how to do that. I did that when I first started the channel. But I didn't have many subscribers, so I can do another one. It ain't no big deal. Now, I thought this one was interesting because you see you have this, like, what I would call a base layer, right, going across right here. And then you have spots of color over here. And see, you got another, like, stripes going here, one going up across this way, and then across over there. And I'm wondering, they have these things around here called lightning stones. I wonder if this is a lightning stone that I just found. Well, we'll find out when we cut it. Now, this is a really big one. Scrub everything, right? Now this was laying next to the other piece that I said I thought was agatized petrified wood. This, I don't know what it is. It just looks interesting. See, you can see like lines running like through here, and then one from over here going up that way. Just really neat. Really neat stuff. It's all just sitting alongside the river by the boat ramp. If you see it and you think it's interesting, you can take it home with you. All right, we'll set that one down. Now this, I got a piece of this last week, and I cut it up into squares, and that turned out really neat. It turned out black with red like spots in it. Now this one, I want to try something different. I want to try making a slab, but I'll end up with 4 slabs because I can cut this down the middle and have two, but then that won't fit in my tumbler, so I have to cut it in half and make 4 of them. See, that looks almost red, doesn't it? Looks almost red with black in it, doesn't it? That might be a piece of jasper. A lot of jasper around these parts. We'll see what it looks like as a slab. This is kind of long. I usually don't do these this long, but there's a lot to cover right here. I'll do this one and start it uploading, and then I'll do a part 2. That way you guys aren't having to go through 3 hours of this. Do it in 2 parts. Okay, so that really changed, didn't it? So we'll cut this one across this way. Make slabs out of it. All right. Watch for part 2 to come out. Oh. Yeah. Talk to you guys soon.